You are watching your award-winning cable access station, Channel 13 and 19, Athol Orange Community Television.
Hi, I'm Hattie Nessel, and I'm at Athol Orange Community Television, January 27th, 2017. The name of the program is Save the Planet Updates. You know, the planet is really in a huge crisis due to climate change caused by human endeavors. And we want to make sure that we give you the latest news on what's happening with climate change and what we can do about it. So the first thing I always talk about are the plastic bags, and I'm not going to go into it a long time, but I want to remind people, make sure your plastic bags are handy, they're back in the car, they're at the front seat, whatever. I was just with a friend this morning. She says now she's gotten from 30% of the time remembering to 40% of the time remembering. That's not good enough, folks. We need 100%. And if you forget them and they're still in the car and you find yourself in one of the stores that you need a bag, please walk back out and get your bag. And I just want to quickly show this little bag can be in your purse, so you can always have a bag with you, even in your little pocket. It's for the radio audience, it's about 3 inches square, and it probably weighs less than an ounce. And you can buy them at CVS and I'm sure other places. So that's very critical. Remember your plastic reusable bags so that you don't have to use the single-use plastic bags that are filling our lands and our waters and our sea life and destroying the planet. Last Saturday, I was at the Women's Walk in Boston, and we have a full-screen picture of that, an aerial screen done by some helicopter that was up there in the sky. And I was there very early, and so I was pretty close up, but it just filled up the streets. It filled up the way, overflowing the Common. Said to be the largest demonstration in Boston's history of demonstrations, including the Vietnam War stuff. They said it was about 175,000 people. Later, I heard 200,000 people. It was really big, and you see a lot of pink. If you're able to watch this picture, you see a lot of pink, and the pink were pink hats that people had knit and were wearing. Men and women alike were wearing the pink hats, and I heard that 3,000 were in Greenfield. They had no idea. They had no idea that there would be such an outpouring, and about 500,000 down in Washington, D.C., at least 500,000. Busloads after busloads, trainloads after trainloads were down. So people are really wanting to be aware of what we can do to prevent any further damage to the planet. You know, there's a lot of fish, mammals, species, trees going extinct, and we really need to stop that, and that's why people were there. The next thing I want to show is a picture of climate change, and this is credited to NASA, and it shows how the planet and all the continents are warming, and the sea levels are rising. There's no doubt about it, and that is, if you go on the NASA website, you will see a lot of pictures about global warming and climate change, and I just picked this one out. I liked the emphasis it showed about how red hot the planet is getting. And this is 2016, as you know, I've mentioned it before, was the hottest year for the 3rd year in a row. And of course, this whole century has been hotter, historically hotter, and showing very, very serious damage from what are mostly the fossil fuels. And so I have actually a button on me that says /fossil fuels, and we're going to show you what that button looks like close up. So what I've gotten those now added to my car. People around the town know I have no nukes, I have Go Green, I have windmills, I have the sun. And just yesterday I went up to Jake Lyman and had him make these and put them on my car, fossil fuels. We have to stop using the fossil fuels, and that is really critical. And the devastating effects of fossil fuels cannot be equated with the few jobs that they might provide. And it's very, very serious. And whatever anybody can do, I have a Prius, which gets about 50 miles a gallon, 45 to 50, I would say, 45 to 50 miles a gallon. And I really do try not to drive so much. I find myself driving a lot more than I would like to be driving. And I do all kinds of things related to going to meetings and doing vigils about this and being on the streets and going to Boston, et cetera, going to visit family. But still, it's really important that each of us think, do I really need to make this trip? And the sea levels are rising, the global temperatures are rising, and we are having lots of violent and extreme weather. I don't think there's a day that goes by that we don't get something over the internet that says there's been an avalanche due to huge downpours of rain, mudslides, earthquakes, torrential rain for sure, forest fires, and leaks of gas, methane, et cetera, that are all things related to climate change. And we really need to stop that as much as we can. We have heard from our new president that he wants to get the Keystone XL pipeline going again, although President Obama had rejected the Keystone XL as being very damaging for the environment and unnecessary. And now President Trump is wanting to also go back and license, push through the Dakota Access Pipeline. And that's what this is about. This is about the Dakota Access Pipeline. Standing Rock Sioux people on native territories, treaty land. It would go under the Missouri River. There's another explosion of a pipeline somewhere going on right now. I can't even remember where it is. But the pipelines will increase global warming pollution. There's no question about it. The tar sands oil that the Keystone would transport is much worse than typical crude, dirtier and more carbon intensive. Tar sand pipelines are more likely to spill than conventional pipelines due to the higher pressure during transport. And President Obama's rejection of Keystone XL was a major victory for everybody who supports bold action on climate change, and a symbol to the world of America's commitment to being part of the solution and the Paris Accords. No one thought we could stop the pipeline the first time. The oil industry promised jobs and cheaper oil. That's a tough argument to beat, even though the facts don't back it up. But together with our allies, we made a strong moral case for action, and we won. Our challenge this time is even greater. So we need to let who's ever Secretary of State, the president, whatever, know that we need to reject the Keystone XL and we need to reject the Doppel pipeline. And there's a very good site which is sending out a lot of this information, Environment Massachusetts. You can check that out. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the Army Corps of Engineers. was directed through the Obama administration to say that they must do an environmental impact study process before that pipeline can be approved. And the exact wording of the President Trump said about the Army Corps of Engineers, they can consider to the extent permitted by law and as warranted, quote, end quote, whether this environmental review should be canceled. Federal courts have previously ruled, this is really important information to know, that agency decisions cannot be reversed simply because a new president is in power. So this order could be just a bunch of hot air. The situation is very uncertain, however, and anti-Doppel pipe activists should prepare for both scenarios. One in which the pipeline plows forward in the coming weeks and months, and one in which the full environmental review proceeds. So you can write to President Trump and say that we need to have a complete scientific environmental impact study done, because this pipeline would go through the Missouri River, right underneath the Missouri River, the Ojai Lake, and all the way from almost in Canada down to the Gulf of Mexico. So you know it'll go and threaten through many waterways, many people's wells and their foundations when they put in the pipe, and they dynamite to put it in and all that kind of things. So we want a complete analysis of that pipeline before anything further happens with that. And it's important to do letters and phone calls to Senator Markey, U.S. Senator, federal Senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and our local representative, Jim McGovern, and let them know that we want them to go to bat for the environment. We want to have a study done that will show that this pipeline would be very dangerous to have going through our country, and it isn't needed. You know, we are having more and more solar. I'm reading about it almost every day, or seeing another roof. I just saw a garage roof full. I saw another house, a little house with lots of panels. And we know that a solar field is being put up on 2A right near Walmart. It looks humongous, very large solar field. And that another one is going in across from Walmart. So we know we can produce the energy that we need via solar fields and windmills and energy efficiency and conservation. So that's the message for this week at AOTV, and I thank you for watching and listening to this program.